This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without consequence. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
Oh, here we go. We are live and direct once again on another purge of the BS. Thank you for joining in with me, guys. I do appreciate it. So now that we've done with the festivities, the early part, let's get into this purge of the BS. Thank you for jumping in here. I see we got a couple of people in the chat already. The Mod Squad has assembled against the Troll Patrol, just in case they keep stopping in here. So for everybody that is in, Al Bond, IMZ, Purple Groovy, I see y'all in there. And we are on Twitch today, X, and of course YouTube. So welcome to another purge of the BS. So today we got a couple of things to get into. I'm not gonna lie to you, I got a lot to talk about. I got a few things on my mind. Today we're gonna call this one the Big Payback, okay? Because there's been some recent movement that's gonna cost a lot for a lot of people. And I wanted to have a discussion about it, just make sure y'all keeping up. Now, as I do with every episode, you've already heard the disclaimer. So you already know a lot of people gonna get the smoke today, okay? You already understand this. So thank you for your understanding. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. I ain't got time to be waiting on no algorithms. We ain't got time for that. It's real serious out here. It's real serious out here. So need y'all to check out our first guest on Purge of the BS today is a shop owner. Now remember, our title today, the Big Payback, all right? So we're gonna go with that today. I like that, the Big Payback. Everybody want their money. Everybody wants their money. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but everybody wants their money, okay? All right. As long as we all understand that, I think we'll be in a much better place. Everybody wants their money and some money. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into our first situation here. Go. All right, so apparently, hold on, I'm in the wrong monitor here. I got y'all though. There we go. All right, so apparently this gentleman up here in the black is a shop waiter staff of a place, Chinese food place or whatever, right? And he doesn't get a tip, follows a young man and his friend down the street, and this is what happened.
This is why tipping needs to be done away with. This is in Evanston, Chicago. An owner of a restaurant follows and hounds down a man leaving the restaurant after he leaves a $20 bill on a $19.87 check.
Hey, bro, what do you want, bro? What do you want? I paid for my food. I paid for my food. What are you talking? Why are you following me down the fucking street?
Uh-oh.
Nigga, you need to get the fuck back. You need to get back. Why are you following me? Why are you following me? What do you think? Why are you following me? What are you gonna do? Call 911. Call 911. If you need to settle something, you know who to call?
Yeah, they're over here. Let's go. I know them.
I'm okay. Go tell them. You go tell them.
Then you wait here. I'll call
You go tell them. You go tell them. I paid for my food. I handed you $20. You can't charge me more than what the menu say.
No,
So what are you talking about? Bro, I'm not legally required to give you a fucking tip. Get the fuck back. Get back.
Yo, all right. First of all, I'm not really sure what the guy is expecting to happen once he fully encounters the gentleman that he's talking to. Like, if you take money from him at this point, I feel like that's sort of robbery because you chase them down the street. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is a lawless town they're living in. But okay, so basically he gave him a $20 bill for a meal that was $19.97. So he left him like a 3-cent tip. So I feel like maybe it was the disrespect of the 3 cent that was really what set him off. Like, if you're not going to tip, then just don't tip. But to leave a person 3 cent, to me, is a little disrespectful, okay? Not saying he's entitled to leave the tip. He doesn't have to. If he got bad service or whatever it is, tipping is always supposed to be an option. They've changed that these days. It's supposed to be an option, but 3 cent is like, that's real disrespectful, bro. That's all I'm saying. Not saying he should have followed him down the street, but don't be disrespectful.
Get back.
You fucking with me?
Get back. Get back.
You fucking yelling at
Get
me?
back, bro.
Huh?
I'm telling you to get back.
Uh-oh.
Yelling
I'm
at
not trying
me?
to fuck with you, bro.
Uh-oh.
Bro, I'm not trying to fuck with you.
You piece of shit.
Bro, I'm not
fucking
trying to fuck
goddamn
with you.
fucking yelling at me.
I'm not trying to fuck with you,
You
bro.
shut your goddamn
I'm not trying
fucking
to
mouth.
fuck with you. Why are you following me
He
down the
can't
street?
even cuss good.
Shit, little piece
Bro,
of shit, man.
I
He
pay
can't
for
even
my
Smack the
cuss
shit
good.
out of
Bro,
you,
I pay for
punk
my
ass,
food.
man.
I pay for my food, bro.
Piece of shit.
I pay for my food.
How the fuck you didn't think
Bro,
they make money?
I pay
piece
for my
of shit,
food.
son?
I
How
pay
am I
for my
fucking
food.
staff supposed to make
Bro,
fucking
I pay
money,
for-
huh?
So raise your
He
price.
said that right.
Bro, we can solve this chill, bro.
Punk ass,
we
man.
can solve
the
this
police
chill,
is right
bro.
there, bro.
We can solve this chill, bro.
Police
I
right
pay
there.
for my
Yeah.
food. We can
Come here.
solve this chill.
Come here.
We can solve this
Let's go
chill.
talk to them.
Why are you harassing me?
Punk ass
Why are you
bitch ass.
harassing me?
Fucking raise your goddamn
Bro,
voice at me,
why
huh?
are you following me down the
I'll
street?
slap the shit out of you,
Why
man.
are you following me down the street, bro?
Punk ass
Why are you
shit.
following me down the street?
When I get slapped up?
Why are you following me down the street? Why are you following me down the street?
Chill the fuck out, bro. Why is you
Bro,
following
chill
this
out,
man,
to
bro?
fucking make
Chill
money,
out,
huh?
chill out.
Why is you following this man?
Chill out, bro. You need
Now, I don't know if y'all can see on the shirt, this is the Table to Sticks Ramen restaurant. They are definitely up for Customer Service Organization of the Year because of this. Now, this guy may or may not, I don't know what, he's a dishwasher. I think he's the guy that gets the dishes. That's why he was pissed about the tip, because he came to the table to bust the table and he saw there wasn't no tip. And then he went outside. He showed up. So on that regard, I'll give him the respect. At least he showed up. He said what he said and he felt how he felt about it. Now, does he have the right to chase a person down the street over a tip? No. But at this point, I believe there hasn't been a physical altercation, just a bunch of people yelling. And honestly, a 3-cent tip is real disrespectful. So you do deserve a little bit of a yelling at, sir, but maybe not all of this. This is starting to become creepy. Now you're getting way down the street. You're not even close to the restaurant no more. So I don't know. But Table to Sticks Ramen is what's on the shirt there. So if you're thinking of going and getting something to eat, make sure you leave a tip.
to calm down, bro.
You
Why
fucking
you
raise your
following me down
goddamn
the
voice
street,
at me, huh?
Bro, you
Huh?
need to get back.
You
You trying to
wanna
back me
fucking
into a
apologize?
corner. You trying to back me into a
Huh?
corner,
Bro,
bro.
what is wrong with you, bro?
What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? What are you
You did
doing?
nothing wrong. What you doing?
What are you doing, bro? Bro, what are you
Bro,
on?
what is he doing, bro?
Piece of shit.
Bro, what are you doing?
Fucking got them backslash the shit out of
Bro,
me.
what are you
What?
doing? What are you doing,
Are they
bro?
about to get on the bus?
Go back up, bro.
Hey, take my bag. Take my bag.
Yo, bro, what the fuck you doing, bro?
Take my bag. Hey,
Uh-oh.
get back. Get back. Get the fuck back.
Whoa!
You need to get back,
Bro, back up.
You need to get back, bro.
Put your hand on me,
Bro,
huh?
he didn't do nothing, bro.
You need to get back.
Chill.
Chill out. Yeah, but that's
You need to get back, bro.
Chill out,
Okay.
To get back.
Chill.
Chill out. Yeah, but that's
You need to get back, bro.
Chill out,
Okay?
You need to get back.
He didn't do nothing wrong. What you doing?
No, get back, bro.
something, we about to
Get back. Get back, bro.
You don't have to see black, bro.
No,
Oh,
hold the
put the
bag.
race card on me, man. Look how color my skin, huh?
Oh, he said you're doing that because he's black. He threw the race card right and he just threw it right in. Well, it could be you are black, I guess, now, because I didn't know. On this side of the camera, I didn't know for sure. Hate to say I would assume that the person that would tip 3 cent might be a black person. Seems like the odds are in that favor. But I don't, the real thing is, if he would have left a tip, would he have not accepted the tip because the guy was black? No. So I don't think he necessarily chased him down the street because he was black. He chased him down the street because he didn't leave a tip and he happened to be black. See, that's where the race card, you see what I'm saying? The principle is the tip. So you're out of line for that, but that's why you're there. But then to throw the race card, and no, he didn't follow him because he was black. He followed him because he didn't leave a tip and he happens to be black. All right, so now that we've established that, let's see if this. I don't think there's anything else. I don't believe we're getting to a fight.
Don't
here.
yell at me.
Fucking put that shit
Hold
on me,
I'm
huh?
just getting my water, bro. I ain't touching you. Hold on, your bag is loose, bro. I ain't trying to do nothing.
All right, well, y'all get it. So nonetheless, this gentleman here
Get back, bro.
He is now going viral for this interaction. So, like I said, he's not fighting them per se. So it's just a bunch of noise. And you know me, I'm sick of the damn noise anyway. So I'm finished with this guy. All right. Unless somebody else has something. He just, like I said, he's just taking it too far. I get the concept. If somebody left me a 3-cent tip, I would throw all 3 pennies dead at the back of their head on the way out the door. Foul, foul, foul. They would catch all 3 of them joints. And them pennies hurt when you throw them hard, since you want to leave pennies. Now, granted, he left a $20 bill, so I don't know. I would have thrown a fork or something. Maybe not a fork. That would be dangerous, too. All right. I don't have any really undangerous ways of settling this. So really, this is probably the best bet. He just yelled at him the whole time, and there you go. And this guy will never forget not leaving the tip at this place. So whether he goes on in his life and continues to be a non-tipster remains to be seen. But I would venture to say that if you have interactions like this frequently enough, you would probably not 3-cent tip people no more. And lesson learned. So to a degree, I feel like I said, I feel like he's justified. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's right. You got to understand there's a difference, okay? He's not right because he didn't go way down the street with it. He could have just yelled out the front of the door, "You cheat mother!" You know what I'm saying? He could have done that, and that would have been point taken, point made. But he's walked all the way down the street to possibly where he could get robbed by them, which is what I was worried about. I thought they were just going to be like, you know what, we way down the street now. He ain't got nobody with him. You take him up in this alley right here, call it a day. So it's fortunate that didn't happen to the guy. So I'm glad that didn't happen to him. But like I said, I'm through with this guy. He took it too far. He needs to not do all of that. I'd have hit him with an egg roll or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Something they left on the plate, you know, because they'll leave some food on the plate. I'll leave the wasted food that they left on the plate. I will hit them in the back of the head with that on the way out the door. So, Donald J. Plump, thanks for stopping in the chat. And all of my folks in the chat early, thank y'all very much. We are going to move on from this guy, but first and foremost, this gong is for you. All right, I'm through with this guy. All right, what we got next here? So that's that. Okay. How did she end up in the headlines again? All right. The other day, I had this story about Nancy Mace. I don't know if you guys know about Nancy Mace, but she's been in the headlines lately because she's a congressperson, but she always seems to be cussing people out and saying what I would consider inappropriate things in the forums that she's in. Like, she got into a cussing match with a guy in the supermarket in the beauty aisle. He was in the beauty aisle, and she made mention of why she thought he was in the beauty aisle in reference to his sexual preference, which just seemed out of line for the argument. So she's back in the damn headlines again. She done something. I don't know what she did. It just says Nancy Mace is back in the headlines. So what did she do? Uh-oh. She's at a church. Oh, Lord. And no pun intended, but truly intended. I don't even know what this is going to be, guys, but Nancy Mace is in a church, okay? And she's known for being a little brash and, in my opinion, to some degree, very ignorant. Like, when she says certain stuff, she's not very aware of other people's shit. Like, oh, IMZ, it's all good. I know about the notification system. Don't worry about that. YouTube is being them right now. So we're going to allow them to be them, but y'all are here, and that's special to me, okay? So let's bring Miss Mace in your face back on over. Yes, that is my nickname for her, Mace in your face, because she's always in somebody's face. Always in somebody's face. Somebody voted for her. I think she's from North Carolina or something like that. But somebody voted for her. So check this out. So she's at somebody's church with this person who looks like a young lady. And let's see what happens. I can only imagine Nancy Mace at a church with her foul ass mouth trying to have a discussion with somebody that she doesn't like. Let's see.
Does your husband call you babe?
I'm not married.
Okay, so even better.
And I don't care.
Okay, so I would like for you to apologize because that is derogatory and second of all.
Is tranny derogatory to you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Replay. Whoa. Y'all heard the voice change? Did y'all? Hold up now. Hold on a second. Wait a
I
minute.
would like for you to apologize because that is derogatory and second of all.
Is tranny derogatory to you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course
So,
the fucking is.
Tranny. Yeah. Tranny. If that's derogatory, then you already know. I'm good.
So does your
Wow.
husband call you babe?
I'm not married.
Okay, so even better.
And I don't care.
Okay, so I would like for you to apologize because that is derogatory and second of all.
Is tranny derogatory to you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course
So,
the fucking is.
tranny.
Yo, I'm done. I am done. I didn't know, okay? But here's, like I said, Nancy Mace is always saying stuff that offends a certain group of people. And she does not back down from it. She says in here she's not married. She got, what's his name, Eric Dyson in trouble because he was flirting with her, trying to say, yeah, we would look good together. Yeah, well, you know what? It wasn't a good look. She put the text messages out. She will snitch. Nancy Mace in your face. So according to that, she does not support using certain pronouns for certain people in these forums. But it looks like she's in a church here. And I don't know what church this is. What was that song that was playing in the song? I know that song. I don't know. It was some crazy song that I definitely know that was playing in the background. But it felt like this was a specific event. And here's the thing. When that voice changed, that was masculinity, y'all heard. All of a sudden, this person turns from a dainty little yellow Sunday dress wearing person to, you're damn right it is. Like, well, come on, man. Stay in character. If you want me to believe it, you gotta stay in character. Nancy Mace is in character all the time. She doesn't break it. So I believe that she can be quite the biatch from what I've seen because she's always in that character. She definitely has a Karenistic Janice vibe, okay? For those that know who Karen is and those who know who Janice is. Janice is the HR lady. Karen is the one that be in the neighborhood just bothering people because they exist around her, okay? So all I'm saying is Nancy Mace does need to tone it down, but if she doesn't want to tone it down, that's fine. You got the First Amendment. You're cool with that. But don't get upset when people like this approach you. It seems like you're kind of inviting certain attention by doing this. That you claim you don't want this attention, but these are the people that are going to approach you and have a problem with what you said. These people, like this dude's voice is deeper than mine, or this person's voice is deeper than mine. This person might be able to affect physical harm on this woman. He can just grab one of the little skinny ass legs, snatch her ass back, bow, she got a concussion on the hardwood of the stage. I'm not violent, I just see opportunities here for violence. And that's what I see is she's not being safe. Now, granted, there's a cop standing right there on both sides. So even if you get that first lick in, it's not going to be pretty afterwards. But you could at least do so. So I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying maybe she should not be so abrupt with people in that group because you know they're going to be pissed off and you're not going to back down. They're not going to back down. Is it really necessary to say the T word all the time? I'm not going to say it on my stuff because that's like the N word to me now. You can't even say that. Albon, you know what I'm saying? You can't say the T word no more. You can say gay, you can say lesbian, you can say homosexual, you can say all that. You can't say that T word no more. It is outlawed unless you're one of them. If you identify with that group, then you can speak on it. And I definitely do not identify with that group. I can't even identify that group half the time. I don't know what you are. I thought this was a young lady at first, just kind of frumpy looking. Turned out there's a whole dude right there with a deep ass radio voice. So anyway, Nancy Mace, be careful out there, sweetheart. These people, you know, whoever they are, you don't know, there be some crazies out here. Don't let them get too close to you if you know they have opposing opinions and really dislike the stuff you're talking about. Don't think you untouchable, lady. These people out here in America, and they're of all types, they get too close, you let them touch you, it's going to be a problem. So anyway, I'm finished with this guy. See, Albon, stop. We can't even say Transformers anymore. Because unless you're talking directly about the series of movies and shows and such with the actual robots that transform, you know, can't say it no more. Just forget it. You know, just forget it. You can't even say it no more. Because if you say the T word, then whoever's the T is going to say that they're one of either the W's or the M's, right? I'm not a T, I'm a woman. I'm not a T, I'm a man. See, you see what I'm saying? So they don't even want to say it no more. Nobody wants to say it no more, so we're just not going to say it no more. It's over. It's over. Those days are done. Until they, you know, outlaw everything. You can't say nothing no more. I'm going to be honest with you. It is very hard to come up with words that are non-offensive. Tamara in the chat said, I am T. But you can't say the T's. I can say Tamara. I can say that. And thank you for stopping in as well, Tamara. Appreciate seeing you in here. This gong is for you. And so, like I said, let's move it on. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, we got this. We got that. We got that. Okay, we're going to go. All right, something happened at the YMCA. Oh, Lord. Now, I don't know what happened at the YMCA, but something happened at the YMCA. That's good to hear that you're getting better, too, that you've been doing well out there in good old Canada. That they wanted to make the 51st state, but that's all bull. But we'll get to that. I'll tell you what's real. The real is coming. That's what we get ready to talk about. So nonetheless, what is going on here? Wait a minute. All right. All right, so here's a problem. I guess this must be the follow-up story to what I was just talking about. Y'all got to just see it. It's crazy, but apparently there was somebody in a bathroom they weren't supposed to be in, and it caused a problem. And I'm just going to let y'all hear the story, okay? This is ridiculous. What the hell? What has happened at this YMCA? I need to know now. Let's see.
It was less than 10 days ago when a Metro mother and her daughter had finished up swimming lessons where she says hundreds of children attended. They went to the women's locker room to change. That's when she says she heard a man's voice. She then decided to leave, but as she and her child walked out of the stall, they encountered a naked man, his privates on full display. She asked what in the world he was doing. The woman claims he said something to the effect of, quote, "Honey, I'm a woman." She and her child then sprinted out of the locker room. That woman spoke to Fox 4 on Monday, and she says they were not the only ones who saw.
My 11-year-old does use that locker room, especially after we go to the pool. And in there, you either have the closed down showers or you kind of try to change as quickly as possible. So it's definitely shocking and something that we'll be looking out for a little bit more.
The YMCA tells Fox 4 it's investigating the matter, saying in part, we follow all state and local laws and...
All right, we're gonna pause for a moment here. I need y'all to understand what the problem is. Some lady went into this. Is exactly what I was talking about. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is the gray area where the problem starts. Some lady goes into a restroom or locker room with her daughter who's under 12, 10, 11 years old, and there's a grown-ass man at the YMCA with his super schlong out, talking about he's a woman. This is not right, okay? All I'm saying is I understand why people would be uncomfortable with that. I don't know if they're necessarily outraged. It's a decency thing. I can't just run around with my schlong out everywhere and just say I identify with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But I see in Kansas City, I didn't know Kansas City was that progressive, to be honest with you. I thought they were more like, old school traditional in Kansas out there. But apparently not. Apparently they got the whole everybody uses the bathroom that they identify with. It says it right here. Individuals are allowed to use the locker room or restroom that they identify with. That's what it says. That is, like I said, that's the gray area. That's the gray area, and that's where it gets funky. Literally. Because I can only imagine like ball sweat after a YMCA workout and you in the women's locker room. Oh, my God. That, to me, it makes my stomach turn a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So we'll let them finish the story. But I'm just going to say this is the gray area. This is why we can't have this going on, is because this is what will happen. There's some confusion here about what's acceptable and what's not, and what's acceptable for children to see and what's not. And me personally, I don't want my 10-year-old walking in the locker room and somebody's whole schlong is out. Regardless of if they tell woman, hey, honey, I'm a woman. Well, I don't think so. Because that thing you holding right there, it says different as far as what I know. And I don't necessarily want my kid to say, what the hell was that at 10 years old? If I'm going to have that discussion, I need to have it at my time when I feel like it, not under the surprise ball and shaft being shown. And the truth is, you know what? Donald J. Plump made a very interesting point. In the men's locker rooms, we don't want to see each other's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a thing like you think it is. In the movies, they always show the women's locker room. It's all sexy with the steam and the wet hair. Men's locker rooms is not that. The dude that's got his thing hanging out, we don't really like that. Bro, there's ways to not do that. We got locker doors, you got stalls, changing rooms. There's ways to not put your super schlong out in front of everybody. There's a way that you do the thing with the towel, you fold it down to the shorts. There's ways around it, okay? Now, if you do have to do it, it's supposed to be for a brief second, like you're dropping the towel and pulling your drawers up or something like that. Not you just walking around butt-ass naked in the locker room. That, to me, is inappropriate as well. Men with men around, all men, that's inappropriate. And you need to know that, too. If you one of them guys that just be in the locker room, you're on the phone after the workout, but you butt naked just walking around the locker room barefoot on the towel where people piss at it and the urinals just all around talking, you just nasty. And you need to be dealt with for that. So the YMCA, of course, they follow their state and local laws, and we'll let them finish up. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away. I'm sorry.
Individuals are allowed to use the locker room or restroom that they identify with. At the North Kansas City YMCA, we also have 4 private universal changing rooms available.
Okay, so why not use that then if you're not one of...
For anyone who prefers the privacy they offer. The police department says they are investigating a report of indecent exposure that occurred on April 12, 2025 at the YMCA located in North Kansas City, but further details were not shared.
And see, here's the thing, man. It's not considered indecent exposure if the rule is you go in there and you identify with that particular sex. So the police, this is not a criminal case. So we can just forget about that. If you want to change this situation, I think they made a very interesting point about there's some privacy changing rooms. Why don't we just make that mandatory for people that are doing that? Nobody has to know that you have a super schlong. You can just go into the private room knowing you have the super schlong, and then you change there and nobody says nothing. And then you're not even taking a chance of a little girl walking in and you possibly hit her with the balls to neck. You know what I'm saying? Or walking past and the thing is a little too close. You know what I'm saying? It seems like this is a resolvable issue, even with the mixture of bathrooms, which I'm not for. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, how about this? You see what I'm saying? It's as far as locker rooms. Bathrooms, all you need is to just always have stalls. Urinals are cool, but they're not as necessary. If you really think about it, you could just get rid of urinals and make sure, pick up the seat when you're in the stalls, guys, because y'all are nasty as shit with that. But the point is, urinals are just there for convenience. They're fast. They're always the closest thing to the door. But the floor around the urinals is filled with piss splash. And it gets on the bottom of your feet. That's why I got the little rug down there sometimes. And then the rug gets sticky. Oh, my God. You know what it is. It's not soda. It's piss. All around. It splashes everywhere. When you got to go real bad, it comes out hard. And it splashes off the back of the urinal and goes all over the floor around it. I'm telling y'all, maybe the ladies don't know, but this is what I'm saying. Urinals are totally not necessary. It's a manly thing. We're like, you got to stand up to pee. I can stand up at a toilet. It's cool. Now, what happens there? It splashes all around, too. So you got to be careful of the splashback. Okay? Now, in this, I just think the person who had the super schlong should have gone and used one of the private changing rooms just to make sure that there was no gray area, no misconception about what they were doing in the locker room. I think that would have made this whole thing so much easier. And because everybody's trying to prove a damn point that they're this and they're that, they want to go against the grain and do something that's basically just an inconvenience to everybody else that's around. Because this person could have easily gone into their own little changing room, changed out, and nobody would have said nothing. But because you want to stand in the middle of the locker room with your grown man balls around 10-year-old little girls, somebody might have a problem with that. You don't think? Nobody would. Come on, man. See, I think it's disingenuous for somebody to think nobody would have an issue with that when a bunch of people already have an issue with that. So nonetheless, they didn't show the person who's alleged to do this. Sometimes I like to see what their passability is sometimes, Like if you walk past me and I wasn't paying attention, would I believe it? Kind of thing. And if I see some big old husky Ron Jeremy looking dude talking about he's a woman, and some of y'all might be young and not know who Ron Jeremy is, but walking around all furry chested and all that, no. Not acceptable. Not acceptable at all. All right. I'm through with these guys. Shoot. That was unacceptable, bro. All right. Speaking of unacceptable, it's getting, debauchery is at its finest today, guys. Oh my God, you're not going to believe this story. You're not going to believe it. A woman was caught having sex with her own son by, I guess, the stepfather. This is absolute debauchery. What's in the water, guys? What's in the water? Hey, make sure you hit the like button. I know I bring y'all into the content. You forget. You got to roll, too. Everybody in the chat, you got to roll. You like, hit the little reaction thing, the little heart thing when you love it, and the 100 thing when it's real, or whatever, however you feel. But just stay interactive. The algorithm is looking for that. It wants to know that it can come over here and make some money. So that's what it looks for. When we're interactive, it's like, oh, we can push this out because we can make people watch ads. What it's all about. All right, so y'all just prepare yourselves for this story, okay? Just prepare yourselves. I told you what it's about. It's not graphic in the sense that we're going to see them doing something. It's just watch. Jeez. Sick. It is a sickness. Absolutely sickness. All right.
That's a messed up, man. I just walked in and found my freaking wife and her son having sex.
Okay.
I'm 100% serious. She's drunk as all get out. He was too, and he just left.
What's he wearing?
My daughter just lives right there. That's probably where he's at.
Okay, come here, other road.
I just got home from work, man.
Do you know what he's wearing?
No, I don't want to pay attention, man. I just got home from work.
Okay.
Well, I'm about to have her. I need her off the property right now.
Hold on, what?
Gotta go.
I mean, like they wanted me to see it.
10-4. If you're close, I was gonna have to get
You think I'm lying to you?
college in Maine, that area. But
Now, I'm going to pause this for a second. If he just got back from work, why doesn't he have anything on? Like, what happened after he discovered this discovery that he doesn't even have shoes on when the police get there? I don't know where this is at. I'm sure if I looked it up, I could figure it out. You know, a couple of context clues, I could figure it out. I'm not going to do that with y'all. That's me being AI. But I'm just going to be honest. What do you mean you just got home from work and you saw this and you're fully, like, you look like you just woke up, to be honest. But I don't know. It just seems a little suspect to me. I don't know.
I got him alive, Summer.
is that the one that we're talking about? Okay.
Oh, he's trying.
Yeah, I've already talked to him.
He's trying to give himself something. What?
No, I was just talking to him. He was...
Who?
Him. Over... I guess he's the one that called from over here. I don't know who called.
I called.
Okay.
I'm not leaving his side, David. What's going on?
How long?
I'm sorry.
Bad for the guy, apparently.
I'm sorry, Daniel. We're me and you together. I'm sorry. I'm done with all this. I'm done with all this. I'm done. I'm done.
Whoa, wait a second. Is this the son? What the hell is going on? Said we're together. Hold on, I don't know if y'all heard that. Purple-haired person, I think, is the person who is the wife having sex with her son. I don't know what the hell is going on right now. I need more context. This is
me and
crazy.
you together. I'm sorry. I'm done with all this. I'm done with all this. I'm done. I'm done.
How long? Or
I can't. Did you see it? Yes, I was in there when he was doing it. Why didn't you stop him? I can't. He's too big. This shit is too fucking out of hand.
Where's the other son of the dog?
I'm going to venture to say that there is some pretty heavy drugs on the property somewhere and also inside of these people's systems. There has to be. This person said, I was sitting right there when they was doing it. He says, why didn't you stop him? And he said, I couldn't. He's too big. This is the most outlandish debauchery I have ever heard about, at least in the last week. Because this place is crazy. So, but it's very confusing. It looks like they have a very dysfunctional household. Whatever's going on there, but they have a house. So they're doing okay in that regard. At least they got some property or they're renting. They're doing all right. They're not homeless. This guy looks like he could probably use a few more meals. The other guy had the Joker hair. I don't know what's going on.
I need you to step over.
Oh, this is the wife. Okay.
Go step over there by the door.
First of all, can you imagine being a cop and getting this call?
They call that supposedly you and your son were having intimate relations. They walked in on it, and that's why we did it. Right?
I'm just going to say, wow. Like, wow. This recent? This was last year. Okay, this is crazy. But what kind of time do you do for this crime? I'm just wondering. Because they did lock the guy. It looks like they locked the guy up. And maybe not the mother. Maybe they did. I don't know. I didn't see them arrest the mom. I saw them arrest the son, though. This is the son getting arrested right here, but I didn't see them arrest the mother. Yeah, she's definitely not in cuffs. Oh, she looks like a really high-quality woman. Look at this. I mean, she's got the pink streak in her hair that matches the pink underbra shirt that she's so eloquently and elegantly put together with her Kiss shirt. Yeah, this is top-level, prime-level woman here. Why wouldn't well, that's her son. That's just nasty, bro. Oh, okay. I just wanted, like I said, my only question is, how much time do you get for that? Because it's just a sick story. There's some sick people out here, and this is why they end up on Purge the BS, because this is some BS. It really is. For the police to have to spend their time coming out to deal with it, for this guy that had to walk in on his wife doing that with her son, for the other purple-haired person that, I don't know, was just freaking out, obviously going through something, because they live there. So all these people had to now be subject to this BS that has caused this entire rift. So I just wonder, how much time do you actually get for subjecting people to some BS like that? That's ridiculous. You know what? I feel bad for the guy. I ain't gonna lie. I feel bad for this guy. That's some real crazy stuff to walk into. But you picked her, homie. You got what you paid for. So I'm through with this guy. All right. Well, we're just on a roll today, guys. We are just, whoo, okay. Wow. The submissions are getting way better now. People starting to take it serious over here on the Purge of the BS. Make sure that if you run up on a clip or some topic that you want to discuss, make sure you come over to the Twitch, drop that over there, jump on the Reddit at Purge of the BS. It's a community over there, so we get some topics over there. It's all over the place. Follow me up on the Facebook thing. Twitter's another one. Tag me and stuff on Twitter, and that is Papa Purge on Twitter. So, well, X. I'm going to call it X, because I don't like saying Twitter. It sounds soft to me. And I'm hard! Just playing. Not hard right now. Pause. But that's only because I'm here with y'all on the internet, not with my wife. So, yeah, it's a little nasty. It's too early for that. All right, so the next one apparently is somebody else wilding out. So I don't know why I got all these wilding out videos today. It's crazy. I'm enjoying it, though. So this is Jayla, and Jayla is demanding to get a ticket from an officer, and it goes a little, let's just say it goes a little left, all right? According to this caption here. They're saying that Jayla loses her mind. So let's see. Let's see what Jayla does. What we got here? All right, Jayla. What you got? So Jayla got pulled over. I don't know what else to tell you.
Shut the fuck up.
Whoa. Jayla, you're coming in a little hot. You're coming in a little hot, Jayla.
If you keep calling 911, you could. It's not.
I am getting harassed. People are breaking the law.
877 line again.
Okay, it's time to call the guys at the hospital. This is no longer a normal traffic stop.
Jayla, you are in an emotional state. I can't talk with you.
All of you stupid, fat, fucking white privileged motherfuckers keep costing me money, and you do whatever the fuck you want. I wish I was a cop so I could shoot all of you.
Ooh.
The fuck up and get a pat on the back for it. You stupid.
Okay.
I think I know her. No, I'm just playing. She does look like somebody I know, though.
You could get charged. Okay.
Oh, she rolled the window up on him and turned on the wipers.
I get it.
All right. You know, mental health is a problem in the U.S. Let's just be 100% honest. We got some real crazy stuff going on. Some real people's minds are not right. I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know if it's in the food dye that RFK is getting ready to outlaw. All the Kool-Aid about to be gray. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really starting to believe that there's like I don't want to call it an evil spirit, but there is something that's just, it gets into the brains of people and just starts to permeate, and it causes this type of behavior. Now, if she is that crazy, I'm going to be honest, she shouldn't even be driving. If you're the type of person that's that bipolar and you get enraged, driving is not for you. Have you ever been cut off at a light or something like that, or somebody runs a light on you? Oh my God, the amount of rage that you feel, if it's uncontrollable, you cannot be trusted driving. So DMV and folks there, I need y'all to be real understanding of this. If people are crazy and they have anger issues, driving is not a good idea for them. They be the ones that's shooting out the windows and running up over motorcyclists that cut through traffic. You got to watch them. They're crazy. Jayla would run somebody over. I see this in her. She has the potential and kinetic energy to run somebody the hell over. I wonder who she's talking to on the phone and why they're continuing to let her yell at them.
Would you like to talk to him?
Yeah, I fucking would. Get the fuck over here now.
Well, he's not gonna
Who
come
are
over here.
you
Would like
talking
talk
to?
Did I not just fucking say yeah? Am I retarded? Am I fucking stuttering?
He'll talk
You
with
might
on
be
the
a little
Why
bit.
the fuck do I need to get on a sidewalk? Okay. I will pull the fuck over there then.
He was like, whichever officer pulled away was out there.
He'll talk to you on the sidewalk. He's not gonna talk.
So I need to pull the fuck over there because he's that fucking fat and lazy.
Well, if you'd like to have a conversation, you can attempt it.
With who? Why are you going? First of all, officer, why did you just let her pull off like that? You know what? This officer needs some help too. You already know this woman's in an enraged state. You're going to tell her to go over to someone with the vehicle. What if they try to run the person over with the car? What the hell is going on these days? I don't even understand. Let me let Jayla finish up. But this doesn't look good. If she finishes this with a civilized conversation, I'll be, what do they say? I'll be a monkey's uncle. But right now, it seems like she's about to crash all the way out. And this officer should have been like, I don't think you're even in an emotional state that you should be driving, and call some backup. And I hate to say it, Baker Act her ass. She got to go sit down for a minute. You cannot put her right back on the road with all that energy. She might run somebody over that's crossing the crosswalk that she don't like. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. This officer, I am very, very upset with this officer. He could save Jayla and whoever Jayla's going to probably crash out on in life by making the right choices here. And he didn't do it. So let's see what Jayla does.
When you're leaving, huh?
When did I use my signal?
When you were leaving, you didn't use it, and you saw me following you, and then you thought to start fucking using it. You know you didn't use it.
When I actually
Yeah.
Can you let me finish so I can answer your question or no?
Go ahead.
I used my signal.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I'm sorry you think that way, but I did.
Literally, you and your fucking butt buddy did it. Both of you fucking did it.
You can believe that, but I know I did it. You make my right hand turn, and then my left hand turn, and then my right hand turn, and then my left hand turn.
Oh my fucking God!
Yo, this is all over them not using a signal when they turned. The police apparently didn't use a signal when they turned, and this lady was following them, cussing them out, and so they pulled over, and this is what the conversation was. I needed a little more context, but that's basically what happened. So she was road raging against the police. Officers, I would not be upset if you did everything in your power to make sure that this woman at least just chilled out for a second before you put her back on the road. She could go out there and hurt somebody. She is about to be very pissed and have a 1 ton or 2 ton piece of metal with 80,000 horses under it. Well, no, that's like a Tercel or something. You get my point. It's a lot of power and a lot of metal and weight. And she could use it to damage a lot of things. And they just mad because she was mad that they didn't use their signal. This is a short conversation at best. Once she starts yelling, ma'am, you're going to have to calm down or we're going to have to think something's wrong with you and take your ass to jail. Because we can't let you drive like this. This seems like they could have resolved this. I guarantee this woman crashed into something after this video. Maybe not on this video, but after this video, something got run over.
I did it.
No, you didn't!
Jayla, would you like to file a complaint? Yeah! Then you can enter the lobby and we have the paperwork for you.
Jayla's going to file her complaint. Okay, so what this woman did, Jayla, as it's been called, Jayla followed the police back to the police station because they didn't use their turn signals, I guess, as they were going there. So she follows them all the way to the station, I guess, where they stop. And she pulls up on them like they're just regular people on the street and starts cussing them out. Now, I'm going to say this. Because she was a very, from what I could see, even with her face very red and that vessel coming out the middle of her forehead, she's a pretty attractive girl. See what I'm saying? So they understood that she was probably no physical threat to them. She was just all bark and no bite. So at least they didn't tase her, they didn't tackle her, they didn't punch her in the face and drag her out the window. They didn't do all these things that we try to have the police do to people. So in that regard, I'll give the officers some credit. And then at the end, they did offer her to come inside, but I'm going to tell you what, that's the setup. She go in that lobby wilding out, you going in the back. You understand what I'm saying? Because now you're in the police station. So you go knock something over or push a cop by accident or just brush their fingernail the wrong way under the little window, you going in the back. And so that was the setup. That's probably, I don't know if there's a third part to this or what, or another part to this or what, but I'm hoping Jayla got up out of there, because if I was the officers, yeah, she'd have gone and sat in there for a minute. I'd have found a reason. I'd have made that complaint take at least a couple hours, but then she would have started yelling about that. So then she would have got locked up. And then we're going to have her sit down here until she calmed down. We're going to go get the psychiatrist to come give her some of that good so she can calm down, get her some Suboxone or something, whatever that legal stuff is to be nodding off of. Give her that. She needs it. She needs it. So hopefully Jayla's okay. I'll do a follow-up on the story at some other time. But for right now, I'm done with this chick. All right. What we got here? Oh, we're getting to our political stuff. Oh. Let's see where we'll start here. Okay. So we got one more. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You know what? We'll go to the shorts feed for a hot minute here. You guys want to go to the shorts feed with me? We're going to go to the shorts feed. I got a couple of quick shorts. One is just a funny one, and then we're going to get into our big payback topic here. So thank you guys for coming on, hanging out with me for my layup lines in the first hour. So pretty good stories though today. I like them. So what we are going to do now is, since we saw the unhinged, whatever the hell that was, of Jayla, we're going to see apparently some people who were robbed and their reaction. This is a short, so it's not going to be long. Check it out. All right.
This is quite possibly the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You are reporting that someone stole the drugs that you were trying to sell them.
This is
Sir,
a classic. I remember
I'm
this
broke. I'm just trying to make a little bit.
At what point does this make any sense?
Yo, that laugh right there, this right here. I gotta let this play again. Hold on. So apparently this lady right here was trying to sell some drugs, and the person who she was trying to sell them to stole the drugs, didn't give her the money, and she called the police. And her buddy, who I would assume is also a purveyor of cocaine mixed with baking soda, is over here laughing like a cackling hen. That's the part that's making me laugh. It is a stupid thing for her to do, but this woman's laugh is just...
This is quite possibly the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You are reporting that someone stole the drugs that you were trying to sell them.
Sir, I'm broke. I'm just trying to make a little bit
At what
money
point
here.
does this make any sense?
Yo, that laugh at the end. I'm sorry. All right. On to the next one. I'm sorry. Like I said, we're in the shorts feed, and it was really just a prelim. So we're gonna go with the real one, okay? Since you guys wanna get into some stuff, we're gonna get into it. All right. I hope y'all ready. So for those who didn't know, Michelle Obama has a podcast.
My decision to skip.
Right? And on her podcast, she's been bringing in some people. She brought in Taraji P. Henson to interview, and she had this to say about her not showing up at the inauguration.
My decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like, people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
It's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right.
No. I'm not gonna let you just slide right through that, Michelle Obama. Okay, slide right through that. The thing that was right was to show up with your husband. I know you had your feelings about Trump and the rest of the people, but they hadn't attacked you. They weren't calling you a dude and all that. That was the regular internet that was doing all that. They was just winning the campaign and doing an inauguration ball. And you protested by not going, and you made your man look bad because you sent him in there by himself, and he got to now deal with all the questions of why you ain't there. So no, it wasn't right. I don't care what nobody said. No, it wasn't right. That wasn't right. Even if you don't want to be there, just go there with the resting bitch face. So everybody knows you don't want to be there, and then you protest that way. Just be the whole time. Every time somebody's clapping you. That's how you get your point across. You don't embarrass Barack Hussein Obama. Come on, First Lady. Anyway, you ain't gonna slip past that. What's perceived as right. No, it's right. The right thing would have been to show up with your man so that they wouldn't have all these questions about your marriage and all this other stuff. That was the right thing to do. It was wrong to not go. I'm sorry. Unless there was like a threat on your life or something like that. No, you should have showed up with your man. That's the problem I had with it. And, it is what it is. Y'all can hate me for it all you want. Hey, my wife would have showed up with me even if she didn't like the person that won the presidency, that we weren't even running against. Technically. Now, we all know the back end of that. But technically, Obama wasn't running. So anyway, why did I freeze her frame on this face? Look at this face. Anyway, I'm going to bring it back because I wasn't going to let it just slide through that, making the choice that, I was going to make the choice that was right for me. Sounds real freaking selfish to me.
Really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me. And it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me. That was a hard thing for me to do. I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it started with not having anything to wear. I mean, I had to affirmatively, because I'm always prepared for any funeral, anything. I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off. So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I got to tell my team, I don't even want to have a dress ready. Right? Because it's so easy to just say, let me do the right thing.
But then you become a shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that's what women are, shock absorbers.
What the hell are they talking about? This is dumb. This is stupid. Come on, Taraji P. Henson. I expect more from you out of this. You're not going to address the fact that she embarrassed the hell out of her husband and she just purposely said, don't get me addressed so I won't go? Like, we're just gonna glaze over this? Are we really just going to glaze past this? That's what we're going to do. Okay. You creating a vibe that people are going to start asking questions. And when you created that vibe, it was for Obama to deal with, for Mr. Obama. And I mean Barack Obama, because some people have had these questions about Michelle. But I'm talking about Barack Obama had to go into that room. You sent your black, forget the race card, but I'm going to bring it real quick. You sent your black husband, who had been the president of the United States, the most powerful nation in the world, or at least we think, and you sent him into a room full of old school crackers without his wife? When they all had their wives around, shit, Bill Clinton was getting head in the Oval Office. His wife, crazy ass Hillary, was right there, wasn't she? Come on, man. I hate to say at times you got to do it for the culture, but that was for the culture, Michelle. You made yourself look interesting, and now you're on this thing with the beautiful Taraji Henson over here, trying to justify that. Who's buying this? This is BS. I've been married. I'm married. Me and my wife wouldn't have had to go through that. It would have been like, babe, we got to go to this thing. I know you don't like these people, man. Just come on. And she'd have put on her nice little clothes, and we would have gone, and she'd have sat there and been with the resting face because she didn't want to be there, but she'd have gone so that I didn't get a bunch of questions. Where's your wife at? Where's your wife at? Oh, what's going on at home? You guys having problems? What's going on at home? You guys getting divorced? It was the headlines. Because of her doing that. So no, it wasn't the right thing to do. I hate when they do that shit. Women are shock absorbers. Did you really absorb that shock? Or was it Barack Obama that absorbed that shock when he had to show up without his wife in front of everybody? Goofiness, man. And then got the nerve to be like, at first it was because I didn't have anything to wear. But you purposely told them to not get you anything to wear. So you could default and cop out on, oh, I don't have anything to wear, honey. Well, let me tell you what. If it was that serious, this is the Obamas. You can make a phone call and they can have a Chinese warehouse put you something together and fly it over in a couple hours on a jet. You know what I'm saying? You can have whatever you want to wear to this event. You can wear black dress with devil horns, whatever you want to wear, they would have put it on you. But instead, you decided to not show up because you wanted to do the thing that was not right. That's what she said. She said, I didn't want to do the thing that was right. So she knew it wasn't right. She just didn't give a damn. And that's sad to me. It's sad.
And that's exhausting. And it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Really?
It is not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You've had to be shock absorbers for your husband, for your children, for your mom, for your family, your loved ones, because of where you were sitting in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair to you. When do you ever get to live for you?
Mm-hmm.
I applaud you. I'm happy that you are taking care of yourself in the way that you need to.
Yeah. My decision to skip the inauguration.
All right, so all she basically said was, it was a selfish decision. I was doing me, and that's why that happened. And you know what? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I didn't like it when it happened. Because then everybody was asking, where's Michelle Obama? Where's Michelle Obama? So how was you the shock absorber, Michelle, when you sent your husband out there to deal with that? You didn't absorb no shock. Now, I will say this. The Michelle Obama podcast is getting better, but that's because she's bringing on some guests, and everybody wants to show up on Michelle Obama's podcast. So she'll survive. The first episode or two, it was just her and her brother that nobody even knew existed until he got on the podcast. That was the total dismal idea. But once they got some guests on, now you're watching it because Taraji Henson is on there. But in the interim, you also catch this goofiness that they're talking about. Like, come on, man. Ladies, if you're watching, if you have a husband, if you don't want to go to like some company function, because that's pretty much what this was. This is a company function. And your husband wants you to go. It's like, hey, all of the execs are going. It's the Christmas party, whatever it is. You know, everybody's bringing their wives, open bar, free food. Go. Because what will happen is when he shows up by himself, not only will the dudes be asking where his wife at, but the women will be asking. And as soon as they start asking, now the vultures start circling. Oh, he must be going through a divorce. Oh my God. Next thing you knew, he was messing with the white girl from Friends. Jennifer Aniston. That's right, Jennifer Aniston. All of a sudden, they were having an affair. I was like, whoa. All because Michelle Obama didn't show up at that damn inauguration. Everybody started picking apart their damn relationship, started noticing how few pictures they had of themselves together on their Instagrams and stuff, and started questioning their marriage. All because you just didn't really want to go. You didn't say there was any other danger, like I'm allergic to this, or it was super cold, or just nothing other than I just wasn't feeling it. I don't like that guy. And that's fine, but Obama don't like that guy. Barack Obama don't like that guy. But it was a company function, Michelle, come on. And the best you could come up with was, I was doing the thing that I knew was not right. That's what she said, and I had to do it for me. Okay, so I'm going to be selfish and do what's not right, and I'll hold no accountability for it. And then Taraji P. Henson wants to bail her out, talk about she was a shock absorber. When really, they should be giving Barack Obama credit and saying, you know what, that was probably hard for him to show up without his wife. Nobody say nothing. They always, oh, Michelle, you're so bold. Man, that was stupid. It was unnecessary. It was stupid. It was debauchery. And it was, I'm through with it. I'm through with it. Through with you, Michelle. All right, man. All right. We getting there. Jeez. Sorry, guys. That's a lot. So we got two more here. Hold on. Well, we're in political stuff now. So, all right, let's talk about money.
Let me introduce you to Bob.
Hold on. All right, guys. So apparently, DC got some money in a kickback scheme. Jesus, come on, folks. DC stole some money from DC, apparently. And then we're going to get into our loan shark, also known as the United States government, that is coming for your ass if you got a college loan. And we're going to get into that. But yeah, y'all got to check this out. So DC apparently, got some money they weren't supposed to get. Let's figure out what that's about. Hold on. All right, so first of all, this first shot is interesting. She looks angry. She looks unsatisfied. Let's see what she's talking about.
Introduce you to Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson.
I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. What the fuck do I have to do in this fucking council in order to get respect as a black woman? And when I get up to stand up and talk, all she talks about is black stuff. As you should. I am here to represent every single black woman and man that suffers in the community. I came here to serve people. Don't be afraid. A believer does not compromise their advancement with sexuality, with money.
Well, she should have listened to herself on that part because now she's in a bit of trouble.
Tanya Fernandez Anderson is the vice chair of the committee that oversees government accountability here in Boston. She's also a member of the Criminal Justice Committee, but today she's facing crimes of her own.
Tanya Fernandez Anderson is accused of orchestrating a kickback scheme to steal thousands of city funds. Investigators say she hired a relative in late 2022 despite rules against hiring family members.
The feds allege Fernandez Anderson was having major money problems. She was late on rent and her car payments.
So officials claim she offered her family member a hefty bonus, twice as much as the rest of her staff combined.
But that supersized bonus came with a hitch.
The bonus was more than $10,000, but the counselor directed her family member to kick back $7,000.
Oh. So she gave somebody money out of the fund and told them, and that's messed up. So you gave them $10,000, you took $7,000, they only got 30%? Jeez.
to put in her own pocket. The two exchanged the money in a city hall bathroom in June of 2023. The meetup shown in these texts.
As alleged, not only was these taxpayers' funds being stolen, but it was happening right in the building where she works. Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public and the officials who serve them.
Embattled Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson emerging from federal court in Boston after her arraignment on federal corruption charges, refusing to answer any questions. The Boston FBI arrested her at her Dorchester home at about 6 Friday morning.
The councilor denied the accusations, reassuring her constituents she is still committed to the job, writing, "I'm always transparent with you and always available."
Receiving resignation calls from your colleagues, how have you felt about that?
People have the right to their opinion. I think that...
I'm going to just say that she has a really nice, cool style with the color coordination, though. She's definitely corrupt. I get it. But at least she's representing well. She speaks well. And that's how she got over. So you got to be careful of them.
They should allow for, the privilege that everyone has to due process.
But apparently the evidence was just too overwhelming to keep that up.
Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson has just announced she intends to resign. In a statement released to NBC 10 Boston, the councilor asks for forgiveness from her constituents for privacy and suggests that she will work with the council over the next few days to figure out her transition out of the job.
And she's expected to plead guilty in a federal corruption case. As part of the plea deal, Fernandez Anderson also admitted she filed fraudulent federal income tax returns in 2021, 2022, and 2023, but won't be charged with tax offenses.
According to this plea deal, Anderson will spend a year in prison and repay the $13,000 in taxpayer money.
Can you hold up? So she got a year in jail over that? Oh boy, she definitely gonna be praying to Allah, whoever in the jail. She got a year in jail over that. Tanya Fernandez Anderson over here with her little slick outfits and stuff. Like I said, she got over on y'all, Boston. So special shouts to everybody stopping in the chat. All right, we're about to get to our thickness here, but I had to go over it. Like I've been saying this, like everybody's getting over, guys. Like everybody's getting over. This lady figured out, hey, I can kick this money to another third party, and then I could get a kickback. Isn't that what the government been doing? Isn't that what we've been talking about? So it's at all levels. This is the city council. I don't know how they're doing that, that much money in the city council. And it wasn't even a big bag. It was like $7,000. That's not even a big bag, though. Like, we talking like, at least 50,000, 100,000. Let's talk some bigger numbers for that to be worth it. Like, you put your whole situation on the line for $7,000. Ugh. There's some project chicks to get more than $7,000 on the tax return every year. You put a whole career on the line for $7,000. Yeah, okay. She's smart, right? No. Done with this chick. All right, guys. Well, now we're going to get to our fun part, okay? Well, I guess we'll call it fun. We're going to call it fun. I just want to let y'all know, thank you, everybody, for... God damn it, the phone. I swear to God, every time I be on this podcast, somebody likes to call me on the phone. And I know that the reason is because they're not tuned in. If you were tuned in, then you wouldn't call during the live stream. You just jump on the live stream. So anyway, let me get into this, guys. So recently, hold on, let me make sure that's the last prelim before I jump into this one real quick. Got that one, got that one. I don't want to do AOC's ad. I'll do that another day. Do that another day. All right. So nonetheless, guys, let's talk about it. So recently, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, she jumped on TV and she recently mentioned that federal government is going to start going after college debt aggressively. That's the word she used. And she mentioned that apparently college debts hadn't been being paid for a minute, which I was a little surprised by. To be honest with you, I was a little surprised by it because I didn't know that they had paused, I guess, going after the debt while COVID was going on. So COVID was the reason that they basically paused everything, and now they want to come back from that. So I'm going to tell y'all a story, and then I'm going to get into Caroline's situation, and then we're going to have some fun here, okay? So hold on. So for those that are unaware, the United States currently has about somewhere close to $2 trillion in student loan debt, and the government has decided that they're going to crack down on this debt. And my thought is that this will in some ways affect the economy. That's my basic thought. And of course, our conversation is going to be to what degree. So I'm wondering, you know, considering the fact that most people that take out student loans are people that don't have money or don't have a lot of money. I would assume that's the middle class. So I would assume that this is basically going to affect the middle class harshly. So let's listen to what Caroline has to say here. And then we're going to get into a secondary clip, and then we're going to keep going here. So anybody on the Purge podcast right now that has college debt that they still owe on, I hope you're listening.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will...
Hold on. I got to slow her down. She talked too fast for the speed up. Slow down, Caroline. Slow it down.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion. But fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should...
Hold on a second. Y'all heard it. I got to let you see Caroline. I thought she was already on the screen. Why is Caroline not on the screen? Jeez. All right.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion. But fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple. President Trump will not kick the can down the road anymore. Before we open it up to questions today, I want to commend our pool photographer who is in the room with us today. ABC News photojournalist Melissa Young is retiring after 44.
All right, so we'll get back to the main point of the topic here. Is she basically just announced that they're coming for that money, and you know we all understand that college is. I want to say college is an option, but you should have the option of college. You see what I'm saying? And Albon, you make a real interesting point in the chat that you'd rather your tax dollars go to somebody who's trying to do something like college versus, somebody who's just sitting at home getting a check every month for popping out babies and shit. And I get that. But for those, because there's a lot of people who are like, hell yeah, let's go get that college debt. Well, let's be honest about college debt, okay? Let's be honest about it. There was a time when, the colleges and stuff, it was all grants, scholarships, things like that. And then the federal government decided, hey, we'll start dealing with like the Pell Grant. I think that's a federal grant, was the Pell Grant. And they got money through, I want to say Sally Mae and a couple other organizations. and they became the largest, like, debtor, right? They basically the bank. So whereas people were getting grants and scholarships initially, where you had to basically, when I was coming out of high school, you had to like apply for a bunch of scholarships and grants, right? And let's say one was $500, another one was $1,000, another one was $2,000. McDonald's would have one for $10,000. It was like you had all these different options of these grants and stuff you could apply for. You'd win a few, you put them all together, and that was a way to pay for college. It wasn't necessarily that you had to go to the Pell Grant or the federal government for assistance. But they made you fill that out. That's what the FAFSA is for, if you didn't know. So they make you fill this out so they know who to market to. They know who to market to. They can tell by your parents' wages, oh, they can't afford college. Then all of a sudden you start getting a bunch of loan applications in the mail for your parents. And that's because, you know, the kid didn't do super well in school, so nobody's offering a scholarship. But if they do want to further their education, and when I say further your education, I just mean that. Further your education. You can further your education without going to college. You can learn a trade. You can get on the internet and learn coding. You can do all types of things to further your education. But if you want to do the traditional way, you go to college, okay? And I always press for, with my kids, it was, you don't have to go to college, but college needs to be an option. That means do well enough in school that college is an option. Don't fail out of school and you barely making it, and now you don't have a choice but to work at McDonald's. Like, make it so at least it's an option. If you decide to do something different, if you decide to do something better, fine. But it should at least be an option. That's how I always did it. And my kids ended up with scholarships and stuff like that. Because I'm very big on education, because I do understand that that's the great playing field evener. You know, we do have some racial disparities in this country, but the educational disparity to me is way more important. You can say all you want about race, but if we're not educated, then how are we competing? Forget race. So we have to be educated first before we can complain about somebody saying that we're not, you know, that it's a racial thing. So in this episode, we just basically are exploring the idea of how this would really truly affect. And pretty much after I did my research, I came up with the group that it would affect the most is households making under $200,000 a year. Now, if you break that down into numbers, and we're about to get into some stuff here, guys, okay? So if you're here for the shock content, I'm over with that. Now I'm talking about some real shit, okay? So if you bring just that group of people, that makes up the middle class, everybody that makes under $200,000. Those families are far less likely to have savings and basically they'll understand that the student loan is designed for that group. But what a lot of people don't understand is that the student loan also has interest on it, like a house loan, like a car loan, because it's a loan. And the interest is always based on the primary debt. So let's say that your student loan is $10,000 and you got 20% interest on that, then you got $2,000 in interest that builds. And if that interest rate is a 20% per year, that means that every year you gain another $2,000 of debt if you don't pay it off. So that's why you do a deferment, is so that interest doesn't necessarily build up for you when you can't pay it. But the middle class has 60% more debt than lower income groups because they're at the point where they can qualify for loans. See, if you don't make no money and you try to go borrow, a couple $1,000s from something, they'll just say you don't qualify. Just like if you try to rent a place and you don't make a certain amount of money, you can't qualify. So the middle class qualifies for a lot, but they can't afford shit. That's the problem. They qualify for it, but they can't afford the cash paid out. So we get pulled into the loan cycle. So I'll explain what happened in college for me, okay? This is just my story. I had a loan for one semester. I had to take out a loan for one semester of college, right? The loan was about $3,500. Let's just say $3,000 for shits and giggles, right? It took me 20 years to pay that loan off. And the reason why was I would make a few payments, They would add interest back to it, and then I look at the balance and be like, hold on, I just been paying, and y'all are adding money right back to it. And so over the years, I kept going through that cycle. I would pay it for a little bit, then I look at the balance, like, oh, this isn't really doing anything. Then I'd stop paying it. They would add the interest back on, and this was a recurring cycle. So it started initially, yes. Initially, I had a deferment for a few years. I think it was 5 years, maybe even 10. I don't know. But when it was time to pay up, they came for everything. They came for wages. They came for tax returns. They came for everything. And eventually, they got this one tax return that I thought would pay the whole thing off, right? And it left it with a $25 balance I didn't know about. I thought I had paid this thing off. They never sent me a letter. They never sent me nothing. 5 years later, they had tacked on 5 years of interest on a $25 left in the debt. But the interest rate was based on the $3,500 I started with. So now I owed them like another $900. So I ended up paying that. Then a year after that, they send me a check and say, you know what, you overpaid. We should have stopped charging you when you got down to that 25. I said, yeah, I know that, but I thought that's just how the game worked. Now, what if they never gave me that money back? I didn't even know I was owed it. I paid that debt for 20 years. And yes, now it's paid off. So I don't necessarily have to worry about this. But if you aggressively are coming after a loan that has interest on it, like imagine it's a monthly payment. You pay your mortgage, and there's interest on the mortgage. You're paying the principal, and then you have the interest rate, the tax on top of it. And you miss a couple payments on your mortgage, what happens? You get foreclosed on. And you missed a couple payments on this student loan, because these are monthly bills. So your tax bill is normally once a year, you get charged it, and you could pay it off in a lump sum. You can work out a payment plan or whatever, right? And you want to pay it within the year, so the next time you get a tax return, they don't come to take the remainder of what you just spent the whole year trying to pay off. In a student loan, they'll do that. But let's say you're not getting big tax returns. You just get like $500 here, $200 or whatever. Then they'll take it, but they still keep charging that interest over and over and over and over again. So imagine that same interest for about 10 years. It becomes an inflated bill. With a house, the house kind of builds equity, right? And when you build equity in a house, you could sell it later for a larger price. You could upgrade certain things in it. You can do a lot with the house once you purchase it. So paying for it every month, you can refinance it, all that kind of stuff. And that's another thing. You can refinance your student loan debt because you are in debt. So you ever heard the phrase borrow against debt? They let you borrow back against the same debt again, putting yourself further into the hole with even more interest. They do it with houses, they do it with cars, and they also do it with student loans. And I believe that there's certain medical things that they do that with as well. But we're not focused on the medical right now. So here's the thing. If you take the middle income families, that's going to be the people between, let's say, 60 grand to 150 grand. And I'm talking about per household. So that's not really that great if you got a couple people in the household, but that's what's considered middle class. And they literally have 70% of the college debt. Then what will happen is those families will face a higher debt to income ratio because now they got to pay back these loans and they're living in an inflated society. Stuff isn't as cheap as it was just 5-6 years ago. So if you couldn't afford it then, you damn sure can't afford it now. And so they use this guise of the taxpayers' money, the taxpayers' money. Is that interest the taxpayers' money? Speaking of taxpayers' money, I thought they found a couple $1 million in Doge. Why don't you just use that to offset the interest? Not the principal, just the interest. At least extend the olive branch to the families that are already struggling before you start taking wages and snatching the tax return. And a lot of people wait all year for that tax return. And that's the only way that they can get their car fixed when it's time to fix their car. And y'all are concerned with what? The national debt? That's, you know what? I'm not even gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. That's not my concern. My concern is the middle class families that are now gonna be worried because they're a few years out of college, or the Gen Zs, or the millennials that just finished college, or are about to finish college, or are the ones that are getting ready to go into college. College can become a debt, but if they start taking other stuff, it starts to take away from your life. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would be real. I don't even care. I think it's overpriced anyway. I like college. I like the setup of it. I like the positives, the networking, and some of the classes are really cool. It allows you to do some creative thinking at some colleges. But at the end of the day, it's overpriced. What you get in return in mass, most people that get a college degree don't even get the job in the degree that they got in college. They get a job in something totally different, and just the fact that they had the paper got them the interview. So just think about it this way. People who are like millennials now and the Gen Zs, with that on their plate, if they have a bunch of college debt, they're going to start to feel like there's no coming up for them. I mean, I felt that way at certain points in life, but I'm looking at it like if you're aggressively taking from, let's say, 26 to 30-year-old people who are really just getting out there, they just finished their education, maybe 5 years to 10 years before, and they're really just getting to living life at 30, in my opinion. And you decide, you know what, now that you're finally making some money off of this thing that you got your degree on, now we're just going to take all your money from you. Every month, we're going to hit your paycheck. Now, granted, I think the paycheck maximum is like 15% or something like that, but 15% is a lot if you're living paycheck to paycheck. 15% of your check is a lot to lose every check. That's 30% over the month, if you think about it. So, but still 15%. But let's do some math here, okay? So for a family that's making, let's say, $80,000 with like $30,000 in average student debt, and that's the median, I think, for the middle class, they would lose about $5,000 to $10,000 every year on aggressive collection. That's just a percentage-based math thing. So $10,000 a year when you're only making $80,000 turns you into $70,000 household. That's a whole different tax bracket. You guys didn't know that. So let's go into the thing, because I know some people are going to want to take this angle, and this will be the angle of, at minimum, those that care. It'll probably be the angle of the left, is that this change disparages and impacts mostly, or unfairly impacts, black and brown people, because per capita, I guess we're like the ones that earn the least money. So the people that earn the least money have the least money. The people that have the least money take out the most loans. So that would be black people. So black middle class families would be, I mean, I can't, like I said, I want to just be like fair about it. I do. But I do understand that numbers wise, that's right where most of us fit in. You know? Black, white, whatever. But there are way more black incomes that are a little lower than there are white incomes, I guess. But I know that's going to be the angle. It's going to be a racial thing. They're going to say, well, if you do that, you're doing that because you're going to be coming after mostly black people, because that's who owes most of the debt. And that may be true. That may be true. But the way it's covered up, you can't prove that. So what you can prove is being in debt delays life. When you have debt, especially when you're young, it delays like your growth period. It delays when you're trying to open up a new business. It delays when you're trying to get married. It delays when you know how many people have said, no, I don't want to have a kid right now because I can't afford it. They would love to have a family, but they just haven't gotten to a point in life where they think they can actually support it. So if you add these extra debts to that younger group, because that's who I'm talking about. Because like I said, my debt's paid, so they're not coming for me. But they would come for people my daughter's age and my son's age and stuff like that, and the ones that are coming behind them. And so I can speak on that behalf because I saw the numbers that I was dealing with, and it was not that much of a debt, but I saw how that interest added up. I saw how they took them tax returns. I even at one point had a wage garnishment going on, but then I changed jobs or something and they stopped it. It was weird. But the point was I paid on the same $3,500, and they managed to stretch that thing out 20 years. And I thought I paid it off every year for 20 years. So just keep in mind that the middle and lower income households will be affected. So because of that, I feel like this was the big stab. This was the big stab. Because a lot of people was rocking with the Trump administration, but I'm going to be honest with you. The educated MAGAs, a lot of them have college debt. This will affect them directly. This ain't tariffs being paused. This ain't maybe we take over Greenland. This ain't maybe we take over Panama. This isn't let's rename the Gulf of Mexico. Those are all surface things. This is real, and this is coming for your pockets. And they don't take long to do this. That's why they got everybody back in the office if you wasn't paying attention. They brought everybody back in the office and said, this is what we about to do. We about to get everybody money that we think they owe. And that's the thing. I understand in the government's side, their job is to, I guess, get the taxpayers' money and use it for the other taxpayers. Like, I guess, isn't that what it's for? The taxpayer money is supposed to be used so that things can be done for taxpayers. Or people that don't pay taxes, like the fully impoverished group. And I don't know. It could be a thing, but I personally believe that the impact financially that this is about to have over the course of, let's say, the next 2 years, this is the big stab. All that other stuff, that's just talk. This is real. They talked about he was going to change child support. You're going to change? No, that was all BS. This is real. If you have a college debt and you haven't been paying on it, they now have everybody back in the office to come and collect. They're not paying on IRS tax, not playing on the IRS tax debts. You knew they were money hungry. That's why they started talking all that tariff stuff. So they're going around. You think when Doge went through all that, they didn't look at the student debt and the fact that it wasn't being pursued as waste or fraud? Well, now it's here in your faces, folks. So what you gonna do? I don't know. Like I said, some of us don't have debts to pay off, but some of us still do. And some of us are living paycheck to paycheck. So if they tell me they were going to take another $150 or whatever out of a check, that would damage a lot of families. A lot of families. So Democrats or whoever, if y'all want to stand up for something, this is what I pose. I don't believe that you should blank out the debt. I don't think that would be a good idea. Sends the wrong signal. But here's what I do think. The interest rate and how they deal with that interest on a student loan. Now, other loans, car loans, we know they're all predatory loans. But it's your education. And a lot of people don't even want to go to college because they're afraid of the debt. Not that they think it's bad for them or they're going to learn something bad. They know it's probably got some positives to it, but they just don't want the debt. That's a crazy way to not want to be educated. I don't want any more education because it costs to be educated. It costs to be smart. No, you're smart because you're smart, and you just pile on information, and we call that education. So why do they need all of that interest? Why did they mention the debt of the U.S. and how they're trying to save the debt by taking money from taxpayers that was taxpayer money? It's like recycling the same dollar. It's like reappropriating or reallocating the money. We're going to take it from these people and send it into another direction that the government wants it sent into. Like I said, until they come to me and say, like even with the Doge money, use that. Why don't you use that? Y'all found millions and billions, right? Go ahead and take that, get all the interest. Take all the interest off of people's stuff, because that's where it gets messed up. You got interest for 10 years, that interest builds up to more than the actual loan is even worth. And you still got to pay it because you agreed to it when you signed on to the bullshit, because it's a predatory loan. It is. The educational loan is a predatory loan. Some people manage to get out there, get money fast, pay that joint off, but most people take 10 to 20 years to pay that loan off. That's a long ass time. It doesn't even take you that long to pay for your car. The college loan has terms like a house loan, like a mortgage. And they own you till you pay it off. They'll touch everything they can. You sign that Social Security number, you put that Social Security number on anything that makes money, they come for it. So now, for anybody that got comfortable, with them not coming for it, they're telling you right now that their goal is to use that money. So when they say they want to use it, that means they really coming for it. If they were just like, it'd be nice to have it. No, they're saying we need this money. So we brought everybody back into the office so they can come and get this money from your ass because you ain't been paying for your college debt. Meanwhile, you're out here trying to figure out why the price of eggs is still high. So it's interesting that they would do that at this time. We have a war getting ready to break out. They just sent rockets and stuff up. Why do they need money? It looks like they're good. Looks like everybody's good. Caroline Levitt got a nice outfit on. Trump hair stays done every day. Pete Hegseth still at the damn Pentagon with crappy apps. Like, it looks like they're good. Why do they need the educated middle-class person's money? Because the educated middle class is the biggest danger to government. Our money is what runs that thing. The super rich, they pay some taxes. I hear people say, you don't pay no taxes. I don't want to hear that shit. The middle class is who pays all them taxes. So every time they make a change to the tax code, it affects the middle class the most. Every time they go up on the tax obligation and all that, it affects the middle class the most. So if we can just be real and say, this might not be a good idea to start coming after people for money when none of this other shit has come down that you have claimed would come down. It's not time yet. You haven't given people a chance to recover from what they're already going through. Now you're telling them we're going to tack on something else. And people voted for this, and I'm sure there's some people that are like, yeah, get it. Okay, that's because y'all don't understand how that shit works. And even if you do, why do you care? Why do you care if the next person gets the interest taken off of their loan, but they got to pay their loan? That's because you're heartless. That interest be killing people, man. So nonetheless, I'm going to play one more Caroline Levitt clip for us here. But I got to wrap it all up with y'all because I got some stuff to do, as usual. And I think the most important piece of this that a lot of people are going to miss is when you broke and you having issues, mentally you're unstable. That's how people go robbing people. And so when you start to mess with folks' money, you get a, fun with Dick and Jane kind of situation where people are doing all types of crazy stuff that they wouldn't normally do because they've been put in a position that they're not normally in. And some people don't have the wherewithal to figure out their way out of it. So if they're in a cycle of, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, they're liable to do some crazy stuff. So Caroline and all of them folks down there, I think y'all needed to maybe invest in a better way to do it other than just saying we coming for that money and we going to get it. And we don't care if we got to take your wages. No. A lot of them people you coming for voted for you. So let's be mindful. Well, they didn't vote for Caroline, but you get my point. So just understanding a couple of things. There's going to be an economic strain. We know that. Because if people have less disposable income, then they can't buy stuff, which helps our stock market and blah. And that's all connected to the middle class again. We buy the most shit. We might not buy the things that are most expensive per item, but overall, we purchase the most stuff. Not just from inside the U.S., but even domestically. We're the ones that's on Temu. Rich people are not on Temu and Alibaba, okay? They might be on Amazon, but we're the ones on Amazon. So we're making everybody the money. So why come for the folks that's in this class? You know why? Because we're the easiest to come after. We got all the money as far as they're concerned. We'll figure it out. Middle class will figure it out. The lower class, they're not educated. The upper class, they only gonna pay so much and they know all the loopholes. But the middle class, they're the working people. They're the blue collar. They'll figure it out. All right. Well, just understand, once you create debt, additional debt has additional consequences. Like if you have debt, the debt to income ratio comes up when you're trying to buy a house. So that student loan debt that you were able to not put on there for years is now going to show up on your credit report. See what I'm saying? So just understand what they're going for, who they're going for, and why they're going for it. They want money. I'm not sure for what. You just found all this Doge money. You didn't give nobody no money. So where'd that money go? And why you now you need this money? And you got everybody trying to do tariff deals and all that, but the gas price has not significantly come down. Egg price has not significantly changed. And the quality of life for Americans has not gotten significantly better. We definitely have more to watch on TV. There's definitely more cinema. There's definitely more press conferences. But what's actually being done? What's being done is they're trying to gouge what they can from the ones that work hardest to get it, because they know we're going to try to figure it out. We're like the worker ants and the worker bees. We got a roll. Right in that middle area is what holds everything up. The pylons in the middle of a house are what hold up the whole structure. That's what the middle class is. It's the pylons in the middle of the house, that one that goes all 3 floors if you got a 3 floor. And it basically holds the whole thing up. So if the middle class was to revolt, how would we do so? We can't not pay for the stuff. Why? Because we got jobs. And they can just take it from there. There's no way around it. They got you by the balls, okay? So now we have to talk about what are our options. Hey, I signed on to that debt. I owe it, but that interest is on some BS. I did not do the math on that when I started that loan. So how about we work on the interest? Just make it fair, is all I'm saying. And I know it's not supposed to, life ain't fair and blah, 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 but if you mess with the middle class, it crashes the economy. Because we can't buy stuff. We can't go on vacation. We can't do middle class things that the middle class does. And if the middle class stops doing what the middle class does because they're being gouged for college debt, that means that the next generation isn't having families and kids early enough, or they're not getting married at all. And so we start to just totally disconnect society, all because they just want some interest money. That's what it is. It's the interest. And I'm interested in them not doing that. So just understand, it's going to create some inequities. It's going to create some mental health issues. It's going to create financial distress. It's going to create housing barriers because of debt to income ratio. It's going to create a problem. And I see no good in it. Now, with that being said, it's a loan. You should pay it back. But you know what I'm saying? They just make up money out of thin air. So just take some of that magic money we've been talking about, put that in there, and then, yeah. But they don't want to do that. No, they want to make your life harder when they could literally just turn that shit off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's hard to hear, but no, I'm telling you right now. It's going to be some shit, and it's just the middle class that's really going to pay for this. So right now, that's the first one, guys. I've been watching this for months, and I said, I need to see what's really affecting people. The first thing, they were firing people from federal jobs. That's the Fed. That happens every time they change an administration. That's nothing new. They just made it a big deal. But these kind of policies, these are the ones that affect your pocket. The fact that they didn't want to bring down the federal interest rate, which is funny to me. So on one side, the Fed doesn't want to bring down the interest rate so that it's not charging so much for loans. But then they're saying, we're going to aggressively come after loans. So not only did you not reduce the interest rate for people, Trump, you told your folks, and we're going to go get that money with interest. Disingenuous to a degree. So don't lie to the folks. He was honest. He said it was going to be painful to them. So I hope y'all didn't think it was going to be a smooth ride when you put the man in the office. And I'm not sure what the end game is going to be with this. I'm not. But I can tell you that this will affect. This will affect. And until they bring the prices down on other stuff, this will have a major effect. Okay? So anyway, if you have some money, this might be the time to invest in some small business. Oh, I see what you're saying, No Reply. And thank you, No Reply, for stopping in the chat. Like, basically, no reply is saying a revolution may be necessary. I'm not going to specifically repeat what you wrote there because that might get me in trouble because it talks about brandishing weapons, but it is one of our constitutional rights. And if these people are coming for you and there's no way to avoid it, they come through your social security number, which you got to put on anything that makes money. Even if you got like some alternate stuff, I think even Cash App requires a social security number. Everywhere that there's money, they said that if you get Cash App, if you're one of those businesses that's been getting Cash App or one of them people that likes to get Cash App, if you get over $500 in Cash App, you have to claim that shit on your taxes, meaning they want to tax it. And it was direct money from one person to another person. Why do you get entitled to a tax for it? Because they feel like they're entitled to your pockets. That's why they always use the phrase, the American taxpayer's money, the American taxpayer's money, the American taxpayer's money. Well, guess what? If it's the American taxpayer's money, then why can't I go to an ATM and get something out of it? Out of the American taxpayer's money. Because I'm American and I'm a taxpayer. But I can't just get American taxpayers' money. I file some stuff. They're telling me about my credit score and all these other things that they basically set up by having predatory credit lending. So you know what? It's not the American taxpayer. It was the American taxpayer's money. It was. But once they got it, it's not. It's the government's money. And the government decides to do what they want with that money when they want to do it. So right now, they want your check. Whatever part of it they feel they're entitled to, they're coming for it. And they're not going to be nice about it. They're not going to send no cushy letter. It's just going to show up one day that your HR department got a letter from the government. You know what I'm saying? One day they got a letter from the government. They opened and read it. It said they were suckers. Because that's a sucker move right there. You know these people ain't got no money. That's why they took the loan in the first place. You're coming right for the wrong people. How about you get some other people? How about you get that money off of the trade deals that you're working and the Doge money that you got? I'm not saying don't charge for the loans. I'm talking about that interest. Just understand that's my point. I'm talking about the interest itself. The loan itself, I get it. You took the loan. But some people don't have it. You just don't. And if they take it from you, it'll make life worse, not better. And they're saying it'll make it better for the American taxpayer. Who are they talking about? Because the American taxpayers you take it from are the middle class, and that's who you're supposed to be making life better for. Because that's the largest class. Forget race, the largest class is the middle class. So if you're taking from the middle class and telling the middle class, we got to take from y'all because them people in the middle class with y'all took from y'all too. No. It's not what happened. You told somebody that in order to go to college, they had to pay you some inordinate amount of money back. And they were qualified to go to college because they had a certain GPA, but they just didn't get scholarships because they weren't 4.0 students. They were just the average kids, the C students, maybe the low B kids that wouldn't get a lot of money, might have got a couple grants. No, that's who you were a predator of. And that's who you're coming after now. And that's wrong. That's wrong. So I'm going to finish this up because, like I said, I got to get out of here. I'm going to let her do her last thing, and we're going to take this out on a musical note because I know it's going to be necessary in the near future for us to understand. But let me give out a couple of shouts, too, all right? Couple of shouts here. Who's in the chat? No reply. Thank you for stopping in the chat. Got Al Bond. He is the captain officially of the mod squad here on Purge of the BS. And I see the Troll Patrol did not stop through today. That's cool. So made the job easy. So Al Bond, we got just a couple of folks in here today. I don't know. It's because I was trying to be real. See what I'm saying? Random Pipe Layer stopped through. Teddy Murray stopped through. The PR boy stopped through. All right. We had a couple of people in here. But make sure that you are a subscriber to this channel. Catch some of the outtakes, the B-roll, the prep that we do, the cutting. All that stuff is going to be on Twitch. So, when I'm cutting the shorts and doing all that kind of stuff and talking trash that can't be talked on YouTube, that's for Twitch. Okay, so just check out Twitch at Purge or twitch.tv at Purge of the BS. Now, let me get back to what Caroline was talking about. I finished her initial clip, but there was a second clip I wanted to play. And I want to get everybody up out of here. Here it is. So, in addition to her and the Trump administration coming for the middle class, they have definitely set their sights on illegal migrants.
If the Democrats can make it almost impossible to deport an MS-13 gang member, how is this administration going to deport some non-criminal illegal aliens?
Well, the Democrat Party is full-blown crazy. Their motto should be illegal immigrant criminals first and American citizens last, because that's exactly what they are doing. You have seen Democrat elected officials who swear an oath to stand up for their constituents and law-abiding American citizens spending more time advocating for illegal alien criminals, gangbangers, and wife-beaters in the case of Abrego Garcia from Maryland. It's despicable. It is disgusting, and we are going to continue to call them out. And this administration is going to continue to fully enforce our nation's immigration laws. And how can we live in a sovereign country where the previous president, Joe Biden, was allowed to illegally traffic tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country, and the courts did nothing to stop him? But now you have President Trump, who was duly elected overwhelmingly by the American people to deport these illegal criminals from our communities, and you have rogue district court judges that are trying to stop him at every turn. It's unacceptable. And I will remind these district court judges and the Democrat Party that 90% of the American people support deporting illegal immigrants who commit crimes in the interior of our country. That's according to a latest Washington Post poll. So the president will not only win in the court of law, but he is winning in the court of public opinion. And he is delivering on his promise to secure our homeland.
All right, Caroline, we're watching markets. They seem to be so sensitive to everything that comes out of the White House right now. Whether or not, the Federal Reserve Chair will keep his job, whether or not the president's softening his stance on tariffs, most recently saying that, talking about the Chinese imports, they're very high, the tariffs on imports very high, and it won't be that high, won't be anywhere near that high, said the president. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. Is it fair to say, Caroline, that the president's stance on tariffs with China is softening?
I don't think that's fair to say. In fact, I spoke to the president about it this morning. He is not going to give up on ensuring that there are fair trade practices around the world. He is not giving up on the fact that China has been ripping off the United States of America for far too long. And President Trump has brought hundreds of countries now from around the world to the negotiating table. We have 18 proposals on paper from nations around the world who recognize that they have, in fact, been ripping off the United States. And there's a president in the Oval Office right now who is no longer going to tolerate it. So this is the art of the deal. President Trump is using the leverage of the United States to bring nations to the negotiating table. That includes China, who he remains very optimistic there will be a fair trade deal with China that finally puts American workers and American industry first. And everybody across the aisle, ask Democrats, they've been saying it for decades, everybody understands what President Trump is doing is in the best interests of the United States, especially our national security interests. We need to manufacture critical supplies, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, chips right here in the United States of America, not just for our economic security, but our national security as well. And the president is focused on doing that.
Caroline, let's see if we can break a little news here. What's the timetable for the reduction in the tariffs against China? The president was ambiguous about it. Scott Besson seemed to suggest it wouldn't happen until negotiations are at least underway.
Let me be clear. There will be no unilateral reduction in tariffs against China. The president has made it clear China needs to make a deal with the United States of America. And we are optimistic that will happen. And when that continues, it will be up to the president what the tariff rate on China will be. But we certainly need to see a reduction in tariffs and non-monetary tariffs